Hey, good afternoon. It's Tuesday, November the 21st. This is Mary Lou Foster. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Sulphur Springs, Texas. And I am so happy that you have joined me today. I'm going to give just a few seconds to kind of get going a little bit. I'm going to give just a few seconds. Well, that cough was loud. I had accidentally turned up my phone. I have trouble sometimes getting notifications loud enough. So whenever my phone chimes, alrighty, I'm going to messing with my iPad in case you wonder what all the shadows are, because that way I can see. If you'll comment when you join me that you are watching, I will be able to acknowledge that you are here. I appreciate your time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. These two cards that I'm going to make for you today, we made in my card class last week. Actually, these may have been in the October class, but it doesn't matter. That's where the design came. I designed for that class, and then I always like to show my online people that what we did, so that you have a chance to see also. Unfortunately, the paper is sold out. It was so popular, and when it went out, it was gone. And there wasn't any notification. It was just gone. And the little star trinkets also. But luckily, I have enough to complete the card kits for my Night Divine bundle that I just closed on Monday. So like I said, if you're watching, if you'll comment, I can acknowledge you. I see that Susan is watching. Thank you. I'm typing W-A-T-C-H-I-N-G. Yep. Oh, I left out a word. Well, anyway, you get the idea. So, my first card is kind of a fun fold, non-traditional card. It's a little bit different look. What I liked about it are the stripes of paper. It uses the Night Divine. In fact, I've used this entire bundle. There are two bundles in this sweet collection, Night Divine and Stars at Night. And I've managed to use some of all of it. So I like to do that sometimes, to just showcase in a short amount of time the products. But what I liked about the Night Divine, it has the traditional, it kind of took apart the song, "O Holy Night," the stars are brightly shining, glory to God in the highest, and then this is an entire stamp that says, "He shall be called Wonderful Counselor." We have joy and peace, and the Lord is my shepherd. So this is one that can stay in your collection, because it's going to be useful just about any time of the year. But I liked this big one right here. Pretty much takes up the whole front of a card. So you stamp it, you have some pretty paper, and you're done. So let's get started on that card. The Stars at Night, the other card is going to use it, so I'm going to wait and talk about that one in just a second. I wanted to use silver, because this pack of lovely gold and silver trim has silver and gold in it. So my other card is gold, but we're not actually using the ribbon. We're just using the silver ribbon in this card. I pulled the silver foil, which is an online exclusive. You have to remember now that we have catalog products, we have the mini catalog products, and then we have online exclusives. So if there's something that you're looking for that you feel like is probably should still be available, do a search in the online store and search silver foil paper, and it should pop up for you. So I'm gonna move some stuff around. I've done my die cutting already. I use the, let's see where I put them. I hide them on myself. I get all set up and then I start doing the live and it all disappears on me. The dies that go with the, so it's on page 14. I have memorized that. I've used the dies called Stars at Night because it has individual, I can't really see that page very good, but it has individual stars and the big stars. And like I said, I use that on the other card, but for this card, I used a couple of the dies just to punch out some silver. All right, so that's my liner. So let's go ahead and get my paper folded. It's cut at 5.5 by 8.5. These are scored at 2 and an 8. So that when you add 2 and an 8 plus 2 and an 8, you get 4 1/4. Huh? You have to do math sometimes to make cards. And that's what this ends up being. Most of the time we score our card in half. I'll show you this one because it's the traditional fold. We score it at 4 1/4 because our cards typically are 5.5 by 4 1/4. This one does turn out to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. It's just folded differently. So I have cut the little strips here. The silver piece is a little bit smaller, so it's 2 inches, and then this one is 1 7/8. So it's barely. And I don't know if there's an up and a down to the stars, but that star kind of looks like it needs to go this direction. So it's only going to be like a 1/16 of an inch matte, but it's just enough to give this card a little bit of sparkle underneath that paper. I could have probably cut this blue panel 1 3/4 and had a larger border. So which way do the stars go? Let's make them go. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to cover up most of it with that circle. I didn't even check to see if I have that die cut already. When you come to my card class, I try to do not all the work, but some of the work for you so that you have a more enjoyable card making experience and you're not having to jump up and down to go to the die cutting machine. So when I get ready to do these online, a lot of times a lot of the work is done. I did let you cut out your own stars. That's why I did the die cutting before I came on live. So I know it's right here before Thanksgiving. But even if you can't watch this video today, it'll be on my YouTube channel and you can watch it at your leisure. Now, I took everything out of that envelope and where did I lay the extra circles? I hid them on myself because I had extra circles. Here they are. I see them sticking out. There are 2 different sizes and it's white on white. So I'm going to get a big one and a smaller one. The smaller one is the one I'm going to stamp on. And this one is stamped in probably Balmy Blue. This is Starry Sky. Let me see if I can find Balmy Blue. I still have card kits everywhere. Yep. Right here in my pads. Stars are brightly shining. I know if you've watched my videos before, especially the one I did, that one unfortunately ran into an ink pad. I'll stamp it, but if it still looks messy, I'll just turn it over. My favorite, yeah, Christmas song that my daughter sings. My daughter sings is "Oh Holy Night." I have it recorded, and I tell them, please play that at my funeral, even if it's in July, because it's my favorite. And her singing it makes it even more of my favorite. So we have our stamping. Excuse me. So this is layered on dimensionals. But I think what I want to do next is tie my silver bow. Technically, it's not a bow. It's for the decoration behind that centerpiece. But I found that it works really great to just tie this humongous bow, and then you can make your tails, your loops, be as big or as little as you need them to be, just by pulling them and kind of playing with it. That still has the plastic around it. Imagine that, it went through a card class, came out the other side, still has plastic. And it's going to be kind of on one side of the circle. So another little trick, whenever you mount that circle, you're only going to mount it over here on the left. So when you put your sticky on it, you have to be careful and not get it overlapped, because it'll stick to this bottom flap. And I had done that, and it was stuck together, and I'm like, oh. So what I like to do to keep that bow under control, cut that off, move that out of the way, is put a little bit of sticky. You know what? I think I want to do it, because I'm going to use that little bit of sticky then to manage these loops. Now this is how I do it. Whoop, I missed the loops. Well, I'll let it in. Let's try that again. Let's turn it. It is not cooperating. Just cooperate with me. You crazy ribbon. Wascally wabbit. That looks pretty good, because it's going to be stuck on the front of my card if all works out according to plan. And yes, I stamped that on both sides because one of the stamps did not get cleaned thoroughly, and when it got put back in the box against this white, it left a little residue. And so now I can kind of eye up what angle I want that ribbon at. And the cool thing about this, it doesn't have to be straight this way. It can be that way. I tend to angle things from left to right. But you still have grace. You still have, if your loops are too big or not going the direction that you want them to go, you can unstick them and move them around. But I kind of like how that's going. And I'm going to trim those, so don't think, oh my goodness, she's leaving big old long tails. I think what I want to do is, instead of using Stampin' Seal, I'm going to use my dimensionals. And use my bone folder to tighten that fold. It wants to be a little floppy. Yeah, I can trim that some. And it's not quite as big. This is really a very simple card, because the paper, and then I'm going to use a glue dot. I think we forget we have these lovely glue dots. They make sticking small things so much easier. And then this star reminds me of the star over Bethlehem with the long points that point towards the birthplace. Totally my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I didn't use any other embellishments. I let the silver paper, silver ribbon, and the silver stars do the work on this one. And then on the inside, wishing you a season of hope and light. And I'm going to stamp it in Starry Sky. And I stole the Merry Christmas out of this one. So it's not in my, it's not right here. And that is out of, is it out of the others? Nope, it's out of a totally different stamp set, because I like to do that to you. I'll have to look it up. I will post a list of the supplies that I used. See, and I'm trying to make sure I clean that off so I'm not, it's crooked. Well, anyway, I didn't want to get my head up in the middle of the screen. And then just a little bit of the designer series paper helps add a detail. And it matches the front, so your recipient, when they see the front, they open it and it matches. You could get really creative. There's all kinds of stars and other stamps. Like I said, these stamps, the bundles, are still available. Yeah, a little crooked, but. So that was card number 1. And then they got to choose, on the second card, they could choose if they wanted to do their stars in the vellum or their stars in gold. And I had kits ready either way. I'm going to move these because I need my Night of Navy. I've got to find a Night of Navy. Blueberry bushel. But I know where it is. Yipper. I'm going to show you the tags that we made. I think this one was made in the class before, because we made tags in this next class, and I couldn't do them in the same class because we used some of the same products. I do have PDF instructions for this little box and these 4 tags, so if this is something that you're interested in, I will send you those instructions if you place a $30 or more order in my online store. So this is like an extra, a bonus product. I can't do the stamping for you, so the stamping won't be done. I can do the die cutting, and I can provide like that little star ornament. I can provide the ribbon and the trim. So these that are stamped, I could do this embossing for you, but celebrating the holiday season, you'd have to have something to sub it. But even if you didn't use this set of products, these tags are just gorgeous. This uses the distress gold paper, and that is in and out of availability, and it's in the annual catalog. So technically it'll stay with us until that catalog retires. And then this one, they learned how to ink, because it was actually very vanilla, and they inked it. But this was a fun, it took them about an hour to make it, because they made the little box. They got to play with the pretty paper. The specialty paper is also no longer available, and I hate that, but it is coming to the end of this catalog. So today I want to make the one with the gold stars. And like I said before, it's a traditional 8.5, cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And that was out of the way. So in the card kit, you'll have, with that just a little bit, your cardstock. And let's go ahead and use the bow folder. You'll have a piece of white. There really should be 2 pieces of white in here. One for the inside and one for the outside. Not sure why I have the distressed gold in there. This is going to be the front. The die. I was going to show you those. The bundle that has the dies, this is a dynamic 3D embossing folder because it's a thicker embossing folder that makes it dynamic, and it's 3D because it will cut and emboss at the same time. Can you see how these, you can, how they also have detail on them? So I need all 3 of them. And sometimes what I do is I end up not having the right shape of. So I'm going to run this through twice. And I probably should have done it before I started this because I need to get my die cutting machine. I'll be back. Because that's a dynamic folder, it does not fit in the mini machine. So I have to use my big machine. I can get the right. And I use my old Big Shot. I mean, this puppy is old. But I saved my really good one for class. And I'm probably going to have to leave you once again. I'm just doing this in my lap because you're not going to want this sitting up here to see my old Big Shot. I'll be back. I got the wrong plate. The clear plates aren't quite thick enough to form a sandwich that puts enough pressure to do what I need it to do. So I have another plate. Like I said, this is my old Big Shot. I don't want to wear out my other machine doing all the die cutting. So I'm going to have to run it through twice because I didn't have a big enough piece of gold. But this also shows you you can isolate and die cut just what you want. Like if you didn't want all 3 of these, then you could put a piece big enough and look at that gorgeous embossing. Can you see that? Awesomeness. So the neat thing about this plate is there's kind of a right and a wrong way to put this together because this little framelit, it only fits one way in order for it to apply the right amount of pressure. So it's a little bit of a puzzle, but when you find the sweet spot of where this fits in, it just nestles right in there. Now I know I need this big star. So I'll put that in there. I'm going to squeeze it shut. And I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to look at where it is. And it looks like all the points are on the paper, which is what I needed. And I'm going to run it through in my lap. Right. I put it in crooked. That was not bad. And I have that little gold star. So I can move this out of the way. I just love it when you put that foil paper in there, plain, and then it comes out beautifully cut out and embossed. Magic. Nearly every catalog they've offered at least one of these 3D embossing folders. Dynamic. So I was going to put this back in place. Alright. You have to be smarter than the... Alright. Gotta go this way. Not necessarily. That's not right. I know you're sitting there going, I see it, I see it, I see it. There it is. So it goes on the side that has the logo. And you're supposed to put it in hinge first with logo side up. Did you know all those steps? It does, when you know those things, it does make your experience a little better. I'm pretty sure what I decided to do is use the distressed gold instead of a sheet of white, because look how, and you can see these stars are kind of sideways, but we're going to cover up a bunch of them with our big, and then this piece of white goes inside. Alright, I have 2 stars. Here's my 3rd star. This gold foil paper is also an online exclusive. So, like I said, I will post the list of supplies that I've used, or you can search gold foil paper. It's a little confusing sometimes. Things that had been in the annual catalog, at the end of that catalog period, sometimes they go in the online exclusives. I can't name you, but there were several that did that out of last year's annual catalog, which sometimes makes me happy because I buy it and I don't have time to use it, and when it carries forward that way, I can use it because it's considered current. So this distressed gold, I think I had gotten in a whole new package of paper between when I made the sample cards and I prepped my kits, and I went, ooh, I think I should use the gold. Alrighty, so now the fun begins. They had a strip in their card kits, and we are going to stamp as straight as we can, celebrating the magic of the season. This is a photopolymer stamp. Some people love them. I'm not sure that I'm a huge fan of them. Here's my Knight of Navy. Because you can see through them. Okay, you can see through them. But for some reason or another, I have trouble estimating them. So I'm going to kind of line... I'm in the camera. Kind of line it up. That helps me a little bit. And I can kind of line this up. And if it's crooked, it is. I have the other side, and I have lots of extra pieces. I threw lots of extra pieces in this kit because I was pretty sure we were all going to have trouble with that. Now that piece of paper wants to, certainly cannot curl up. Come on now. Okay. It's still curled up. But is my head in your way? I hope not. Because I would really like to get this stamp. No. There you go. I trapped it. And keep it a little clean here. They didn't get cleaned real good, and they are nasty. Alright, so to plan where you're going to put your stars, I did purposely make that strip. It almost had to be because this is a long sentiment. And I'm going to put dimensionals behind the big star because it's the star of the card. I'll put one more. I want it to. And you can put it kind of towards the top. And this one kind of towards the side. And this one. And I think it's the same measurement, whether you do it that way, yes, or that way. So let's put this one in first. It needs to kind of go in the middle towards the top. It's your card though. If you don't want it to go towards the middle, that's fine too. And then I just use my Stampin' Seal. There is a lot of dimension on the back of these because they are embossed and it comes up. So you might have better luck with liquid glue, but I don't care for liquid glue. So glue dots will work. Stampin' Seal seems to be okay. This is a 1/4 inch wide, so Stampin' Seal will fit nicely on the back. And I want to kind of do it up so some of the blue is under it. So I chose not to use a star trinket on the one that had the gold paper, but we did use a star trinket on the vellum. And then the background paper for that is some of the specialty paper. This is also the specialty paper. And then on the inside, oh, that's the envelope. I don't guess we'll put the envelope on the inside. I did that one time. It doesn't work very good. Note to self. And I always put some along all 4 edges. I don't want you to be able to peel up my paper. It's me. And I believe I had a strip. And this one is going to be a little shorter. That works that way sometimes. Actually, I believe this was my plan. We're going to make it look like the front with a little bit of the distress gold. First, oops, stuck to my fingers. And I put it right against the edge. And this one is going to have a little bit of matte around because it was shorter. I think it was pieces that I had, just scraps. So I tried to make it work. But see, they've got the gold on the front. They open it up, they have the gold on the back. We can use the same sentiment that we used inside our other card. Wishing you a season of hope and light. And like I said, I'm going to have to post the list of supplies because this one came out of a different stamp set. And it was a stamp set that had a lot of sentiments in it. So it may be one that you would like to add to your collection. Wow, lots of ink on that. Alright. Hello! Photopolymer. Yeah. Hi, Rebecca. I see Susan and Rebecca. I have 5, the number 5 up there, so that makes my heart happy. Those are my 2 cards. Plus the little tag set. Like I said, if you're interested in this, a $30 online order will get you the instructions. That's all. Not the kit, but the instructions to make that. May not help you out any, but I do have them. And alright, how should we do this to be able to show? I guess I'll just show one of each of the cards. And this crazy little guy with that fun fold doesn't want to stay shut. Keeps wanting to show us its throat. That is all that I had for you today. These lovely, lovely cards. I'm going to use as much of this paper up. If you are lucky enough to be on my Christmas card list, you may get one of these cards in the mail. I make no promises because I have got tons of cards in here and it's going to be luck of the draw. I always pray about it, and the Lord seems to kind of direct me, like this family needs a more religious versus secular card. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think the Lord will guide me even in my card making and card sending. So that was all I had for you. Night Divine. Still not too late to get that. The retiring list has been posted, and I think the things that are going to be on sale now indicate a reduced price. Not everything, but there are some things up to 60% off. And then, what else was I going to say? Oh, the carry forward list. They have also released that. So there are some things that are going to carry forward, whether they carry forward into the next annual catalog or to our online store. They didn't tell us that, but I'm always happy when something carries forward. What was it that carried forward? And I'm like, oh, good, because I didn't get to use it very much. Yeah, I don't remember right off the top of my head. So anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to go get a granddaughter, so I gotta go. I appreciate your time. Let me know if you need anything. If you need help ordering, I can help you with that. I'll post the list of these supplies as soon as I get it put together. And I will see you next time. Have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with family if you're going to get to do that. Or just enjoy the season, the time to slow down at least for a day and give thanks for all that we have and where we are blessed to live. And see y'all next time. Bye.